test jagindera gom di ta kharja wala na thagina shin da di jawu se da shedan da wa de jefse sum che ne tunde se da ti ne jiwo om ga wone we ga wo chung this is no ya tim a logi ti ta song san ane ku chin lap to so change de kom jas.
Let's begin with a short meditation by way of first recalling the visualization of Lamatsongkhapa. Besides this Thanga of Lamatsongkhapa, anyway, visualize and then feel from the crown of Lamatsongkhapa, from the at the crown of Lamatsongkhapa, white light rays are issued, which dissolve into one purifies physical obscure negativity and receives Hui Jinlap blessings of his body.
Om ginambe nala ne chopawa jere sik yo samdana tigro kundo ka wo she chikcha shiba thiro
Om ginambe nala. So within the Om, you could also visualize four-armed Avalokiteshvara.
And power generosity jo om dimba a thuwa hung komra.
And with Om Hum at the crown, throat, and heart of Avalokiteshvara.
That ne kunema with the kawat. This is a nagunalaya to jene. Uktu tem de zangala the chick with a chinlap kunuach. The dog is a luigi tip. Socha Kumako develop Wayima, that luge connect Dipasa Mama Shujaranzo. Yet Hama pattern Upadandu. And those chen de la ne lame Guchin Latang mixe power generous to Eugene Ninja Chimbuja and Chin loved in the Chonzon Tena. Near
So then feel white light rays are issued by Avalokiteshvara, and then the band of white light rays enter you as you inhale, and the white light rays, as they enter you, purify you of physical negative actions of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, and then feel that with that you have received physical blessings of the Guru and Avalokiteshvara, particularly Avalokiteshvara's blessing to help you develop great compassion.
that timba ama work number la ya ne jidun jambe ya marse jaya marse sto o di de ne ju timba a to hong chi dinema was ma was to ne su na na tu ne zun tama zung a je la so ga da di was sa fa da tamje changxing ta ne ane jidun jambe ya lama zong ga we sung gi chin la dang jidun jambe ya mixe gi da 돈이 더 셔럽 그 누가 채워진 텐데 아니 총성 되는 야고요.
Now from the heart, so from the throat of Lama Tsongkhapa, there's a red R, and from the which is in the form of a light, sphere of light, spherical light, red light, and then from there Manjushri appears with his body, his crown, throat, and heart marked by Om Hum, and from these Manjushri is crimson in color, youthful Manjushri, crimson colored, and from him light rays, red light rays issued, and as you inhale, the light rays enter you and purify you of speech negativities, the 4 speech negativities, from lying to idle gossip. And then you receive the speech blessing of Manjushri and Guru, particularly the incisive wisdom to see emptiness.
다음에 투걸 이게 홍게 남변은 다자도 마셔제토 다자도 마셔제토에 투걸 아니 자오도창 그놈 뭐 대투걸 아니 이게 딜량 엄아홍 저 상단한 리라토 디나마웨 세용보시트 되게 수수 이기다 낙심 뉴심 녹달라서 다지 디디 창지 슬라메 우송도 진라 주고 마체 믹스에드에네 탑단 셰럽 송도 주고 송주지 공방 산제지 공방 토야겠다 누가 켜와진지 수술나 종송 텐도나 나도 데 삼단 디고르스
At the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa, within this ball of blue light, visualize Shakyamuni Buddha, at whose heart visualize Vajradhara, whose 3 places are marked by Om Hum, and then light rays, blue light rays are issued by Vajradhara and help you purify you of mental negativity in particular, and then as well as also that of a body, spirit, and mind. And next, feel that you have received special blessing from a Vajradhara of achieving the state of union of method and wisdom of Vajradhara.
Da lame kusung thukne wese kama thingsum chune suse lunga yisum chija de sabe dik dip chang ane san lame kusung thuk chinlap chuje ane sanje ji sanje ji chugu lungu tugu lakwa de sungju ji koma thaya ga niwa chawa ji chung song ten.
Now feel that from the three places of Lama Tsongkhapa, three light rays are issued simultaneously, and as you draw them in as you inhale, then they purify you of any remaining, the remnants of negativity of a body, spirit, and mind simultaneously are cleared away, and this then bestows a potency in you or in one of actualizing the three kayas of the Buddha, of the Guru, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nimanakaya, and particularly the state of union, Sungjuk Yoganada of the Guru.
Aya da ne thangbo sem de ne je wese kama thingsum suse luna la tim la samno tang ane dine khale ane be uk supu na ge uk la samno ne che shinda samno tang mo che ane dine ma uk jingbu jik tu tang uk tungtung jik pa tang de ane kanzan jile uk sim ne tuku do na uk dong we sin tuku do na ra da tang uk tu tang ge do 우파 등도 서로와 쉐베 식도나 아니 신도 장가 잡네와 장가 기생나신 직이 숨숨제고 숨접 아니 참샤 대샤 니야 데 다다와 데심 다다와 시와디 간에 데샤 심 다다와 간에 샤마데 야 남도 담을 징고는야 데 우중 삼노데 우간에 심네와 데시 니야 장가 nga cheba 숨접 nga chewa sum jab sasana yang chan de sha je tadawa khurang kala sim tada shiva di kala de sha yang namdo dhamma da je yung kudu na namdo kaya la bezun ma chewa che yang changa jab je uk dun chewa sar sum jab yani ta duks chewa di nga zo tan komjik yagin dasro
이제 권 당부도 걸서 쌤도 걸서라.
당부 쌤 다 지 라마 zonga le suwe se kama tingsum yo samdang yorwa
나렐.
di nimdo la we di naguna la chu tim yo bani go sim da u da su guna la chu tim ba ro je samdang na da garan la sim da je ne u ga la sim ne to shi me di go ta tanda do do.
So now as you keep drawing the blessings of three light rays issued by Lama Tsongkhapa. Feel that you are also drawing in your mind along with them, and then they enter you. And now um, meditate or reflect or meditate on breathing or do breathing meditation. First, inhale deeply and exhale shallowly, just a short breath. Do this a few times, and when you become aware, you are inhaling, exhaling. When your mind is aware of the two inflow and outflow of the breath, then I'd like you to count the cycles of the breath 3 times 3, and at the end of that, then remain in the stillness of mind, peaceful, serene. If any thoughts arise, then again do breathing meditation 5 times, count the cycle 5 times 3, whereby your mind is absolutely one with the inflow and outflow of the air. Doing it doing 3 times 5 times 3, then again remain in the present serene stillness of the mind. If thoughts creep in without making any strenuous effort to block them, go back to doing breathing meditation, this time 3 times 7 times 3, count the full cycle 7 times, and that repeat that 3 times. At the end of which, again, there would be a vacuous, still, serene state of mind.
아야다 그런도 망보다 우중 장가 잡고요. 장가 니시 자직라. 심마인 버시제 뮤틴 자토나 심내 당보 신내기. 심내 당보 주베서 우드 페이지 심내도나 심내 니바 미바 니바 세샤는 디그이스르로 미바시코 심샤제 미바시코 요러바네 우 장가 듄간라다 잡투고도나 마잉 버시제 다심 아니 심내 미바니 요체 미데니네 다심 미발라 조발라 디간라 샤요인데 심 시내주에 당보 조바 심내 당보 미발라 조바더라 조바데 아니 장가 뉴시자지 다데 심내 당보 주에 따라 가라 용거라미나 다 올라 장가 뉴시자지네 토바자 마세 아니 수수 셈나라 남도 마르 되게 나와 샤 남도 다 남도 그 마르 또 싫어 남도 마르 되게 나와 디샤르기 요르와 드즈다 심내 당부 주요메 따딩기 요레스
As you continue doing breathing meditation practice, and if you manage to count the full cycle of breath 7 times undisturbed, serenely undisturbed, then that is an indication of having obtained or found the object of meditation. Miktin nye means focal object, having found the focal object or the focus of meditation. And if you succeed counting the full cycle undisturbed, serenely, continuously 21 times, then that marks the first of having achieved the first of the 9 steps of shamatha, 9 steps of mental placement. 9 steps of mental placement. And so as a mark of having achieved the first of the 9 steps, where you are able to remain undisturbed, counting the full cycle 21 times. If you feel, unlike before, that the number of thoughts in the mind have increased, if it appears as though the number of thoughts, unlike before, has increased, that is an indication, that is a sign pointing to achieving the first step.
티 망부지게 곰잡니 다 남도 마르 땅베 소르질 코고요레 데 마레 디 곰잡인데다 코스 응어트 용고라 베낭안서 난다도 스케지 셰데 디 부당마 게 쾌민도 부당마 상상상스코마 다 상마 카와 데스나 아니 디 게디 차부차용 게디 디기네 고 게디 잡로데 다단당안서 심파즈잉 안데랑에 게지 셰강서 파즈 게지 셰디 디가 다데 슉 전부차 디가나 심잉 도제네 난 부디 게디 고문도 다 상마 카가 데스나 부디 게디 차르조도 와도 남도 때 지부지냐 너 고마잡제 파 심파잉 추잉 남도 매베서시요 남도 요런 안 되네 다 심잉와디 예디 마 바데지 신제 심추데 거기서 뭐 차연데 아니 단 디에디야 무슨 저 라트용이요 라트요다 모트였다 간다 그 여버데 모트요면서 곰잔 매버지 여버서버데 개마레 제잔디 심내 당보게다 곰우 냠레스테 곰우 냠 곰야고충에 따르스테
Many people mistake this increase. Many people mistake this apparent increase in the number of thoughts as if meditation has worsened their state of mind, as a meditation has deliberately, as it were, increased the number of thoughts. It's not that at all. If you, for example, when we are talking, when I talk, when you listen to me, I'm paying attention to what I have to say, and you are paying attention to what I'm saying, and during which flies are flying, but you don't hear the buzzing, the buzz of the flies. Uh, we don't hear the buzz of the fly. That's because we are paying attention. But when we stop talking, meditate, and then the buzz of the flies become so apparent. It's not that their frequency has increased all of a sudden. It's just that what has been happening has now been noticed by oneself. And the same thing goes with meditation. And meditation. So meditation does not manufacture more thoughts in the mind. It's just that as the mind quietens down, then that which has been happening most of the time unwittingly is now becoming more apparent. And when it becomes more apparent, then what has happened is you have identified the normal unwitting occurrence of thoughts. In a way, it's a gomkinyam. This experience of seeming increase in the number of thoughts, which marks the achievement of the first step, is positive experience. Gomkinyam means every meditation has a nyam means some experience, and that's a positive experience.
다 된대게 트란소 냐윈 다 미투네 곰 자고레스로 야 미투제 잠나 안에 심내 니와 심바 시와 다 된대 알레스나 아니 심디 템보 도스나나 달레 시네 마더비나 심내 지 심바 시와 나와지 토이나 삼바데 템보 차용으로 아니 신도 지 된대가네다 돈이 삼나 담바이나 돈이 티천자셔래와 돈이 가자디 응어시야 갖고 쇼지체 나 가자 신야디 갖고 쇼지체 신사나야 렐라베서 그러시와 거직 신사나다고 맞제바 대도나 아니 참바제 덤나 되게요래다 걸 강에 쇼지 요 말이다 다 이내 뭐 가자 신야다 돈이원에 임바디 시벌다 갈레베 망고 잡고래다 럽좀 망고체 냠냠 망고체 배자 챈딘 슝딘데다 기겐 챈딘데 땡제 간다 그베 딱다지 라마트나나 미 동니 마잉게든데 동니에 진짜 대 냥가 여러와 디 냥가 차고 차고 미슈지게 제가 딘데 단다 지 중나다 신행에 봐도 톱제네 동니 도고로 하단다 그래서 좀 보시월에 준준나 신의 럽드 되면 항동기 녀몬 넘버 좀봐 제진에 통마 신의 제자송도 신의단 덴벨 항동기 아니 신의 인강에 아니 직동이도 왜 셰럽 항동 톱제 아니 녀몬 방고래 금제 대인상 통마 신의 공부를 해서 송인데 신의 고고 땅다 신의 다 쇼쇼랑도 다 님도 도르면 신의 공부 되나요 아니 대 동이 고미하다도 다 단도 주주 다다 되게 명인자 님도 시제다고 알레 시네마도는 셈바드 데즈 템르 데스 탄토이나 아니 제라 돈이 지 가자르 증원 셈바이나 아니 데스 냐도로 알바 심시 제로로 데스 심보다 제로 다 닝제당 장주심도이나 당보 측이 단다데 라트에 레라고 슈저로 바로 측이 단다데 신야 레라고 슈 타영고에서 냠레 뮤트치에 닝제당 장주심도서 갈레카르다고 한다. 공원에서 배 미직다다 투용도다 닝지 공고를 전부 공고 여러 지 신야대 닝제당 chan주심 레라고 쇼지체 아니 뮤트제 냠린치에데 갈레카고 쇼지체 동반이데 당보 신야대 가고 쇼지체로 지 신사나 냠린치에 빌레라고 다 고마제베 치제니 아니 베데다 렐하르 드라미시 카르 드라치니 메딘 주시 차데 그래서 어디 그당 디양가는 데스 통도 다른 거네 이나면 하모고다 지세 삼주레지라다 그도다디 나나딘 데지 연대 그더라
So, as you experience this positive experience of meditation, of achieving the first of the 9 steps, and then encouraged by that, if you continue doing more practice of meditation, be it breathing meditation or others, then you will move on to achieving second setting, or the second mental setting. The first setting is called setting the mind. The second setting is continued setting, and if you keep at it, you will move to the third setting, which is resetting or patch-like setting. And then if you move to the fourth setting, which is subdued setting, and so on. So if you go beyond that, you might achieve the fifth setting, during which time, by which time your mind will have become quite stable, although far from fully fledged shamatha, but very stable, quite grounded. And then one could use such a mind to reflect on emptiness. And when reflecting on emptiness, the critical point is identifying the object of negation, or we call gakja, and to make it simple, the negati. The critical point in reflecting on emptiness successfully is, first of all, one must precisely identify object of negation and negati. That is the greatest stumbling block. Inability to do that is the greatest stumbling block. Once you have identified the negati, and then it's much easier to understand, to know how the negated, to know the absence of the imagined negati. And it's a matter of it's a matter of now retaining that appearance of the absence of negati in one's mind. And here a great deal of study is involved in learning about emptiness, particularly line of reasonings, particularly how to identify the object of negation. There you need qualified teacher, guru, reliable, authentic sources, scripture, material, and then such correct information received from these sources, particularly from qualified spiritual mentor, one will be able to identify the negati. Or else, if one studies oneself, and then one may think to oneself, I think that's what object of negati is. And then one may misidentify the object of negati, but think to oneself, I've got it, and then try to understand its absence. One will end up meditating on something that's not emptiness, and it's quite unproductive. So ideally, as said before, fully fledged karma abiding is needed, as Shantideva says in his Bodhisattva Charya. Chine Rapti Temple Hautungi, okay, with the Vipassana conjoined with fully fledged shamatha, number Germans, then vanquish, overcome mental afflictions, but we can't keep on waiting. Uh, we, we, we can't stop meditating on emptiness and keep working on shamatha, and because it'll take a long time, and if it dispense with meditating on emptiness, it will be it will be a great loss of opportunity. So what we need to do is we need to go hand the two must go hand in hand. So uh, with emptiness, the object of negation is extremely hard to identify. Once identified, then meditation will flow somewhat, very smoothly. However, with regard to affective um, topics of compassion and bodhicitta, it's easy to understand. When compassion and bodhicitta are described, one knows what they stand for, but very difficult to really feel it, develop it. Easy to understand, difficult to generate. With the emptiness, is very difficult to identify the object. Once identified, easy to practice. That's Chandrakirti means I see this is what occurs to me.
어다운도 곰데 자오라 말해 나야
Okay, let's do meditation again.
다다레 곰디인다다 나 우중 곰데 스자은데 말라다 스스 룰다 아니 nga 컨데스도 다 nga딜라 원 유어보다 뽐뽐난 시징하죠 어디 심바시더라 당연히 천난데 요래 풍불의 된신배 풍불 원 유어보다 다 사시 이런 게도 이제 다들어 다디 풍부단 더매든죠 풍불 원 유어보다 왜지 나사시 딘데스도 삼삼지 뭐신스는 다게 되어 디네파 야디 칸데도 디 던주 칸데도 파디 상당 말 되잖아 아니야 유로로 와다 차주디 나와디 요르당 안은 절 현재지 나가 슈슈 요래 뭐 스디 와 마곰제기요 마게진인기요 아니 마주민도 와 아니 답변아 마주민도 스타 와 마주민도스는 주민도가 나다 간다시도다 풍보다 저매든죠 완주어보 다텐신 본분한 시절 다디 딜라 아니 대항원성으로 다디 차주디 요랑 알았을라 어디야 원시야 미시지 다 싸우고 말해 봐 소요 치고 말해 하고는 되게 어렵다
So do breathing meditation, and while doing breathing meditation, also look at the eye. What is it like? I am meditating. Immediately, it will look like as if the I is different from the aggregates, existing self-sufficiently and substantially by itself, and then having control over the aggregates, and it will. We all have it. We all have this innate grasping at substantially self-sufficient, substantially existing I or self. And there, once you in your meditation, once you identify that it seems to be separate from the body, separate from the aggregates, That's you have identified. You have identified self-sufficient, substantially existing I, and you don't need to look more into it. And for example, when you say I'm meditating, that I would look like a substantial, this self-sufficiently. Okay, thank you to it that. And when you say I am unhappy, again, that I who is unhappy will look like different from aggregates. So that identification should be more than enough to spend time reflecting on, and we don't need to go into details.
풍부라 완주 부세 배든 된데 삼다네 오라 먼저 먼저 신진로 신진기 뉴질랜드 신진기 뉴질랜드 미만로 완주 고요라 이는 뉴질랜드 미만단 코 수보다 된데는 되어케요 말바 코 이나야 코 완주르도 어딘데기 찾주지 본부터 저부터 비슷하더라 저부터 비슷 저보다 코부터 비슷 제코부터 비슷 저보사데 다사드 본부터 위치 코보사 풍봉하데 그 욕부 소르시제 어딘데기 먼저 숨나라 찬나디 요래 디상 무슨고 요레스.
So we need to see how this seeming self-sufficient, substantially existing self acts like a controller, master, somebody who reigns over the aggregates. New Zealand Prime Minister, and New Zealand, the Prime Minister is the most important leader who makes decisions which impact on all New Zealanders. See that self-sufficient, substantially existing self acts like a master and the aggregates like servants.
다 산당원서 풍부당고 타대외 랑겨와디 ingwezin lel hayore tadi ingwezin madonna 풍부당고 찍베수지 란자와 따주지 용구여 tadi 게절람니 페제 ngozo 라투 말와 델레 단당원서 가른 거신 거라서는 풍부당고 타대 데메튼 신지 이네 풍부를 완주어 버다베 다지 롤 셔기요레 샤바나 신디 지나 아니 가산단 지차로 요르와 롤라야 샤르네 진스나나 아니 가산단 지차로 요레 어디 당보 ngö singuro wa 당보 ngö masinana ani de tongwa de rotu marwa junjuna la takbe ngö la mari ba de ngö me ji mari so da takbe ngö se le pha ta shan jo re wa de le pha ta je le pha de re su shan jo re me ji de la ya ani to de la ya ta samudam maduna te tong ya tongwa de ni to tu ma res ra de ji che dendero ji jidane penangarazo 탭디 아니 미다고레 슬라베이나 당보 탭디 딱 벗으니데 간데 이미 삼당고라 탭디 딱 벗으니데 주어줘야 메디 유지레샤 다드네 아니 탭디 다 주어두고도 채놓고 다 미다고레샤 두수양 고초고도 단다값지 샤야디 가잘 샤고로 가잘로 파다šanjo 그때 다디 ngoyene줄라 요마르와 ngoyene줄라 풍고레 텐심이 풍고를 완주 붙다베게 다직 요마레 이나들로 파다šanjo 당하나도 기승샤 딱대 파자기샤 나와샤는 지나 당지샤로 요로 어디 당봉 ngoyesin 세보로지야스 야보 ngö sinsna na ani ti tongwa de duya ya lel hayar ba gaja de ngö sina ti tongwa de duya lel hayar gaja ngö masina na ani tongwa du thu mar ba cha
So what we are trying to do is we're trying to clearly identify self-sufficient, substantially existing self, different from, that seems to be different from aggregates. We need to succeed in this. If we don't succeed, it will be difficult to move on to the next stage, where we need to see substantially, we need to identify self-sufficient, substantially existing self, same as the aggregates, that seems to be the same as the aggregates. So therefore we have spent some time on this. So it's really important to be able to clearly identify and let self-sufficiently, substantially existing self appear. Appear. But don't grasp at it. If you see the appearance, then nothing wrong with that. But if one then believed the appearance is true, that becomes gangsagi tagzin, grasping at self, meaning self-existence or true existence of person. And that it is of critical importance to identify the object of negation is clearly spelled out by Shantideva in his the Guide to the Bodhisattva 9th chapter, where he says, without coming in contact with the imputed object of negation, with imputed, meaning the imagined object of negation, you will not apprehend the absence of the imagined. So if I say, oh, this book is impermanent, why, you might think, why does he say the book is impermanent? That is because some people may think the book is permanent, and the permanence, to establish its counter reality of to establish the counter reality of permanence, that is impermanence, we have to identify what permanence is like. Only then can we realize its absence. So the negati in this case, at this stage, negati is SSE, this as a self-sufficient SS, substantial existing SE, person doesn't exist in reality. In reality, in the real fact of matter, it's not there at all. It's not there. It just created by construct of ignorance. Construct of ignorance. So what? Due to prolonged association, with ignorance, we keep on takte paksha means and due to predisposition from the view of self, due to long association with ignorance, and due to predisposition from the view of self that we have held for so long, self will appear at this stage as self-sufficient, substantially existing, different from the aggregates. And we need to establish its the negative, or else we will not understand it. Its absence. It is the absence that we need to get at. If what it is absent of is not identified, its absence will not be arrived at.
Oh, yeah, that come this job.
Again, do a brief meditation.
다 딩아랑 싱부 차나를 미신 거에는 디민도 땅거에는 주징아데 아니 풍부라 땐 풍부단 더 여된요 풍부 진직 제월 때네 다 진직 층이 직배 대화 쇼직 파딘 수디 여된 요지레샤 교화도 니지레샤 제가 된대게 직관조부 다사지 심랑아랑게 직사 삼류 남도 비자로 선조 롱니로 선조를 샤미지 왜네질라 대 민두스탑 풍부 세블레 민두 로아 풍부레레 칠제니 니에 민두 아니 대다와데 제니 많이 왔다 대다와데 제오다 대다와데 제니다 니야 요마르다 참에 루트에 주니 요마르잖아 지난 대 참에 루마투바 다라 아니 간상 다음에 락바르다 오면 뉴를 자샤나 락베라고다.
Awesome. So as you keep reflecting in this way, and then you'll think to yourself, it's short of its appearance in that way to me. Short of its appearance in that way into me. In reality, self exists completely different from being independent of aggregate. In reality, it is absolutely, the self is absolutely dependent on the aggregates. There's a close connection, there is an inextricable relationship between self and I, between self and the aggregates. In that, everything self believes it does is not done by it, but by aggregates. Yet, you yet self claims self has done it because self is dependent on aggregates. So when aggregates are born, self is said to be born. When aggregates perish, self perishes. So pertains to them means self depends on aggregate. Aggregate depends on self. And when they depend on, when self depends on aggregate, how can self be so haughty and to say that I exist independent of, and to think that it can do things without relying on things performed, functions performed by the aggregate. So such a self cannot be at all of such a clearly identified, self-sufficient, substantial existing aggregate apart from aggregates cannot be found among the collection of aggregates together as a whole or among each of the aggregates. And such a self cannot be validly found, established to exist. And that that inability to establish validly the existence of such a self is uh, uh, is uh, is causes selflessness of person. You remember there was uh, causer, and subtle. Anyway, not being able to establish such a self through, or rather, through valid cognition, uh, establishes its absence.
Oh yeah. That is how.
Right, we'll have a stop here.
These are the merits of these virtuous sections. May I quickly attain to state of the glory Buddha, and lead all living beings without exception into their enlightened state. May the supreme rule be repeated that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. May the precious yield the happiness that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive